Because a lot of y'all are in relationships. IG, do me a favor, type one in the chat if you're in a relationship, specifically if you're married. If you're married, type one in the chat. We got the Blamley that's on Zoom right now, as well as the Queen Me intensive participants. We also on live on YouTube as well too. What up, YouTube? So we are here, and we want to have a robust conversation. It's going to be differing perspectives and opinions, and I'm here for all of it. You know, my wife, she thinks one thing. I think something else, and so I want us to engage, and we'll have some of the folks that's on Zoom even come forward at different points in time when we ask questions to share their thoughts and their perspectives. And so this right here is my lovely and incredible wife, Fiona.
And this right here is my dapper, debonair husband, Ayesha.
For those who don't know, we're both trained therapists, relationship coaches, and so this is the work that we do all day, every day, helping individuals and couples in their lives and in their relationships. So that's what we're here to do tonight.
We're ready for it.
Yeah.
So y'all have heard all the things online, and we have too. And oh my goodness, I was on with Dr. Ayesha Watkins and Dr. Lori, and we were talking about this the other day. And I said, Lord, people are showing up comment on here. They said, y'all all the same type of women. Because if you don't understand how this is disrespect, then you must
how this
be.
Is disrespect?
How this is disrespect. How the way that Ayesha showed up on the, what is it called? Call Me Daddy podcast. So let's just set the tone. And just for those who don't know and are just, getting wind of this, Ayesha Curry, who is the wife of Steph Curry, was in, I know, right, Kiana? She said he was coming for us. But she went on, what is it called? Call Me Daddy, the Call Me Daddy podcast. And she was talking about her history. She was talking about her marriage, talking about her experience, talking about how she felt. And she talked about the fact that she didn't she actually didn't see herself being a mom. Or she never, I don't know if she didn't say let me make sure I'm not misquoting her. I don't know if she said she didn't see herself being a mother, but she did say that she was not the person who was thinking about marriage and thinking about motherhood, that she, grew up being an actress and being an actor and being in, modeling and doing things like that. And that she saw herself being a boss and being out here getting it, right?
Yeah.
And she fell in love with Steph. And then they had a baby. They got pregnant early on, and her life's trajectory took a different turn because she fell in love with him. But so many people took issue, and we actually watched pretty much like 90% of it, right? The Call Me. You can go find it on YouTube, the Call Me Daddy podcast. But oh my gosh, like so many people had issue, and I really want to open up the conversation tonight and just lift up the different views that folks have. But there's a whole lot of backlash. When I say a whole lot of backlash, honey, let me tell you something. People are having a problem. And I do think that people are conflating maybe some things from the past. I've heard some things from the past, and they're mixing it into their perception of what she said in this podcast. However, what I heard in the podcast was her talking about her adjusting to, it may not be like I thought it was. I may have to do some things different because not only do I have one child, I got 2, 3, 4 children, and she's in a marriage with somebody who has a big spotlight on them, which then casts a big spotlight on her and their children. And she wanted something for her. She wanted to figure out, like, where do I fit in all of this? And I think once I started doing a little bit more online Googling, I said, she been out here in some other conversations. Yeah. And she done said some things. I think one of them was, what was one of them? She noticed how Steph would get a lot of female attention. And at a certain point in the marriage, she was like, dang, I don't really get any attention. Am I attractive? Like, she felt some type of way, just being honest about that. And I heard a commentator say, oh my goodness, like, what in the world? Like, are you married? You looking for men to want you? You looking for men to give you attention? And like, what is this? And she's in competition with her husband. You want people to want you the same way they want him. And I see, want to just shout out, thank you for your comment. Somebody, the Jamaican King, says she's a disgrace to women. He just said this on Instagram. And wives, she's in competition. She's in a competition with her husband. And so that's what we want to get into tonight, because there are plenty of folks who agree with you and say, golly, like, not only is she in competition, she's just disrespecting him. She's embarrassing him. She's making him look bad. And I just have to say, I don't agree. Should
I give you the horn?
I gave myself the horn. I gave myself the hum horn. Okay, you don't have to give me the horn. Okay, but I don't agree, because I think that people's people's reaction, your reaction to what she shared and how she shared and all of that. I think people's reaction and the intensity of the reaction, the passion behind it, I think it says more about the people than it does about them. First of all, let's just be clear. We don't know what kind of conversation Steph and what's the child name? Ayesha had, right? He may be more than fine with her processing some of her marriage and motherhood journey online, and everybody is coming for her upset. You disrespecting him. Let me just be clear. Let's take this and transfer this to your relationship. You don't determine whether or not you've been disrespected or whether something is disrespectful by other people. You keep that between the two of you. So many people will have opinions and feedback for you about what happened and what shouldn't have happened in your life. And they're not in your house and they're not with you. I mean, people just, I think it says so much about our own inability or unwillingness to deal with the nuances of what it means to be human. I can't think. And if you fall in this category, sis, you know what I'm saying? Like, then God bless you. But I can't think of a woman who would not identify with having the role of mother, of wife, of woman, maybe a sister, of aunt, of whoever you are, right? And feeling called to some other things, being interested and curious about other things, looking at their career, a woman of purpose, and wanting to figure out how to hold space for all of that and struggling with that. And she shared that, but she shared that within the context of being married to somebody who has a big life and a big spotlight, right? And therefore, and big money. Let's just be clear. Right? Big money. And so I feel like people like, look, if you living life good, you living in that big house, and well, I don't know what kind of house they live in, but I'm assuming, you know what I'm saying? You getting all these opportunities. She had a cooking show. They was coming forward with the cooking show. And people was coming when they would go. I saw this on something. They would go to certain towns but whatever, cities where Steph would play, restaurants. I don't know why they was coming for her like that. Somebody help me out. Let me know. Drop it in the chat. They was coming for her, putting outside on the restaurant on the like, the little banner or whatever you call it outside, saying Ayesha can't cook. She can't cook. She's not welcome here. I have no idea why they was coming for her like that. But your man Steph, he put on a T-shirt. Anybody remember saying this? And he was at a press conference and he just had a shirt on that said Ayesha can cook. She be cooking. You know what I'm saying? So all I've seen is a husband that supports his wife. And I've seen a woman come forward in this podcast sharing the nuances, the difficulties. And people are like, I feel like, the Jamaican king, do you just want her to shut up? Just shut up and be grateful. And I'm not coming for you. I'm just asking, is that, because some people might say, like, because I heard people say, they could talk about that in the house. Don't talk about that outside. But who are we? You might, there are things that you and I talk about outside. Are we wrong? There are people on here right now watching. You talk about it outside at your church or in the community, and you share some of your things because you are a help to somebody else. You share some of your story. You shouldn't talk about it outside. I think it depends on the couple. It depends on the people. It depends on the dynamic, right? That's what it depends on. And so for me, all of this backlash is very interesting. It says a whole lot about how people feel about women. And it says a whole lot about patriarchy. Those are my initial thoughts.
Yeah, so fellas, it's important to make space for your wife to bloviate. And
you trying to talk about me right now?
and to express all of her thoughts, all of her feelings, and just fall back, fellas. Just I was falling back for a second. So, my wife and I, we got different perspectives in some respect, and in many ways they're similar. And so what I'll say is that based off of that podcast, the Call Me Daddy podcast, I agree completely in reference to what my wife is lifting up, just about the way in which she showed up. And as a woman, you really should have the right to be able to express yourself, to be able to stand in your agency and own the decisions that you make and express, like, this is where I was then versus this is where I was now, or this is where I still am. Whatever it may be, your voice, your opinion, your perspective matters. I agree wholeheartedly with that. I think the thing that I do think that we're conflating. I think that we're conflating, but I do think that it's necessary considering the circumstances. And so it would be very easy to look at the single isolated situation in reference to her being on that podcast and say she was on point. Because I do think that she was on point and nothing was out of bounds in reference to that particular podcast. But depending upon who you are, and not just who you are, but also the scope of responsibility that you have and the potential impact that it could have, I do think that you have to be mindful in certain spaces. And so, and you have to be mindful about what it is that you express. And so I'm thinking about it, number one, through the lens of being a husband, but how does Steph feel about it? I'm not sure completely. I saw the piece about, I'm rocking with Ayesha. She can cook. That's cool. But I don't know no man that wants to feel like his woman don't want to be with him. Or even like she did not want to be with him. And so y'all can be in a different space now. And there could be a certain level of maturation. And so the relationship could have grown to a certain point. You may not have been digging him or feeling him at first, but it's not like dudes are like happy and applauding when they hear that. It's one of those situations in which like, that's what it was then. I ain't too psyched about it, but this is where it is now and we're in a different space. And so for her to be publicly sharing this, that is her truth. However, what's the overall impact? And so I do think that as a married woman and as a married man, let me say that clearly, as a married woman and as a married man, you got a responsibility. You got a responsibility to be mindful about what it is that you share, because what you share has an impact, could potentially have an impact on your partner. And then when you're saying it at scale, then the ramifications could be even greater. And so I know some people may say, like, fuck them, fuck everybody else. And what I make the decision to do and how I share is all good. And even if me and my husband in our house, we're good and he don't care about what's been lifted up, I hear all of that. And with that being said, once that stuff get out there, you never know the impact that it could possibly have on your relationship. And so my thing is that, it's really important for, as married folks, that you govern yourself accordingly. Women don't like to hear that, but it's not just a woman thing. It's a woman and man thing. Like, you got a responsibility to govern yourself accordingly. And what that means is that it's not that you can't speak about, your life in terms of being a woman and what you desire. That's cool. We support that. But what you can say it without saying that you didn't want to be with me.
Okay, so
and even if you do say that you didn't want to be with,
Siobhan asked that question. I got that question. I didn't hear her say that.
I mean, not in this particular interview, but I mean, so there's. I
haven't heard her ever say that.
That's what I'm saying. Things are conflated here. Things are conflated when she's on a TV show and she sees some half naked dudes coming out and she's going like this, like she's trying to take off her ring. There's messaging that's in that. You a whole married woman and you're pretending like you're trying to take off your ring so you can get to them. That's not the right messaging as a married woman that any man or that most men want their woman to be represented. So that's one thing. And then even prior to that point,
give them more context. She was like on a talk show or something.
I think it was The View or
and they had models coming out and the people were like, ooh, and the ladies were like, ooh, and she was like, she was like trying to take her ring off like for play. Okay, so
yeah, and so that's that. I'm not feeling that. I'm not feeling that, and it's not to say I'm not feeling the fact that she can't feel some sort of way, but how she shows up matters, y'all. So it matters.
You still didn't answer the question.
What was the question again?
Did she say she didn't want to be with him.
She didn't say that she didn't want to be with him, but what she did say is that, it wasn't like, being married and having children young, it wasn't like the most ideal of
That was something she was thinking about. She didn't see herself.
Yeah, but it was almost as if like it was said in a way in which, not that she regrets it, but like she wanted to live her own life. And so there's no problem in her wanting to live her own life. I get that. But if that's the message that I'm constantly hearing, then it reeks a lack of appreciation.
Where are you getting she constantly?
Because that's what's being put out here. That's what we see most of. And I don't see a balanced perspective in terms of what it is that she represents if the love is there. And so I just think that like I need to hear more of the other side. And that was one of the pieces that we lifted up. Like, if she's madly in love and she's truly appreciative and grateful, and she loves being a mom, loves being a wife. And I get people going to nitpick and pull the salacious things out of it. However, at the same time too, I do think
you falling for it.
Yeah, I could be falling for it, but at the same time too, I know that some messages ain't swirling around certain people. And some women feel the same way that she may feel. But these women they recognize that there's a responsibility greater than me just expressing what it is that I think and I feel. I got to make sure that I'm honoring my husband in terms of how I present in public. And the same thing, he got to do the same thing as well too. So my biggest point here is that she has a responsibility and she can't just say whatever. And I'm not trying to control women's mouths, but what I'm trying to do is make sure I'm honoring our marriage. And I want us to move in a particular way in which we do so. And again, it's not just for the woman, it's for the man too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So I think that the piece that we can take from this in marriage, right? We're going to have people. So this where Ayesha and I, mm-hmm. right? I'm just, not that y'all asked, but I'm telling y'all anyway. if this were Ayesha and I, right? If we had that situation, you had to go be interviewed somewhere and that was your feeling, I would not feel any kind of way because that was a part of your story. That's a part of your journey. That you
wouldn't feel what kind of way?
If you were like, I wasn't ever thinking about marriage, I wasn't thinking about being a father, that just wasn't a part of my life plans. I was focused on this, and this. And when you tell your story, that's a part of the story. You know what I'm saying? I would be okay with that. I don't want to feel like you keep telling that part of the story, and you know what I'm saying, that just kind of sends a message that you're not grateful for our marriage. What else am I messaging?
What else am I messaging? So you have more to evaluate me on, and what, not just me, but mm-hmm. what's being presented to the public outside of just that message in and of itself.
Let's be real. Ayesha is on that podcast and even on other interviews. She's messaging more than that, but people are zeroing in on those particular statements and that part of her story because she is out of formation. You said there are plenty of women like her who probably feel the same way, but they're not expressing it that way because they know that culturally, that's not what a good wife does. You know what I'm saying? We keep that, I love being a mother, I love being a wife. There's plenty of women out here like, I hated being pregnant. I couldn't stand it. I didn't want to have another kid. I had the baby for him. I love him to death. I wouldn't, I love my child to death, but I didn't want that. I wasn't sure about marriage. All that traditional stuff that I'm not with that, but we got our marriage and we doing it. It's a lot of people like that, but they don't speak perhaps that way.
Why not?
Because there's not permission to do so. Because there is all of the criticism that comes. And I just let's just lift this up. When we think about men and we think about the journey to marriage, perhaps for women, at least in America, and the journey to marriage for men, it's very much a commonly understood thing. That they may be out there sowing their oats, or they may not be ready to tie it down, and they are unsure about it, and they got all these people, and they was never looking for that. And then what generally is the messaging is, but then she came into his life, and she got it on lock, and he shifted, and he switched, and there's room for him to not have been one who was raised that way. But women are raised oftentimes, culturally at least, maybe not in your particular house, but we are reared, and the culture says, oh, I want my wedding dress, I want my children, I want my husband, I want all the things. So it's not okay for us to have those same kinds of conflicting feelings. But you don't see that for men. It's like that's the norm. Like, well, how many of y'all heard this? Well, you know how men are. Well, you know how they can be. You know it can be difficult for them. And that's just accepted. that that's a part of their process. Why can't women get that same grace?
I mean,
Why is it become about you? Why does it become about the man? Because I never saw myself being a mom and being a wife. Oh, you didn't want to be with me. Then Jay, this ain't about you. I'm talking about me and where I was, right? But now where I am is here. Those aren't the same things. But culturally, I'm speaking to the culture. That is not allowed for women. What is lifted up for women is be a good wife and and stand in the gap and take care of your children, and we love all those, and be there for your man and cover him and support him and bring the food and all that good stuff. That's why it becomes difficult, I think, for people to be able to accept the nuances of human beings.
So it's one thing.
Okay, so Russell said we ain't supposed to be the same. Correct. We are not supposed to be the same. But grace should be given and acceptance should be given, in my mind, at all times. Women are not any more responsible to or responsible for
They're not.
marriage and the children. We have differences in the ways that we're responsible, but we're not any more, responsible than a man. But in this culture, you damn sure better believe that's how it's given. Look, Yvonne said, I didn't like children, but she couldn't imagine life without her daughter. My older sister didn't want no kids. She was like, I love being an auntie, that's it. Remember her? I don't want no kids. And she had kids later on in life. She couldn't see her life without her kids.
So I respect that for the moms who are expressing that. I really do. I just think that even with those feelings, you don't need to be like leading a campaign with that.
She not. Why are you saying she leading?
I'm just saying that the messaging is predominantly that. At least that's what's been lifted up. That's what's been lifted up, and that's what's been highlighted
and lifted up in the media, because the media is pushing everything else to the side and zeroing in on that.
So Yvonne, she also mentioned that she spoke about the whole puppy love piece and him being the love of her life. I get that. And I like that. And I love that. And so I just think, and I'll be honest, that I haven't watched, a bunch of her interviews and stuff like that. So I don't know concretely, verbatim, like what she's been saying in every single situation. I can acknowledge that. However, at the same time, too, I do know that if the messaging is more balanced, or if the weight is on how much she's in love with Steph, and how much she appreciates Steph, how much how much she loves her children, and how much she appreciates her mom, then I do think, not her mom, but her children, then I do think that the messaging, or even when they try to tease out these pieces right here, it would be counteracted based off of what she's been saying in these interviews. And so,
because that's not what the culture does. It nitpicks for you out of formation system.
I get it, but I do think that if you're leaning heavy on one side, but you got sound bites on another, that even though the sound bites may come out and people may highlight those pieces, that if she's leaning heavy in one way, then let that. It would be known. It would be known. And so I hear your response, and I respect what the ladies are saying too. But so explain to me this: when dudes come out, and she knows that this is national television and she's trying to take off her wedding ring. Russell says she might be trolling, which she might be. I don't know. And so I'm just, what do you think about that? Like, is that good wife behavior?
Raina, very, very good point, Raina. Say it again.
This ain't good wife behavior when I'm talking and my wife ain't listening to me. That ain't good wife behavior right there.
I'm sorry. I was reading.
But is that good wife behavior though?
What?
You don't know what I'm talking about?
What
if the dudes are coming out and she's pretending like she's taking off her ring, like is that bad behavior?
No, that's not good.
Okay. And so if you put that within the context, like it takes a certain, y'all might disagree. Y'all might think that it wasn't really nothing about it, but
no, I don't have a problem.
So I see it kind of that's toxic AF. And so but what that's speaking to, so somebody who would do that. There's a disconnect somewhere.
For sure.
And so if we can see the disconnect there, then it could even speak to the value of the relationship, but what she feels as though is acceptable and unacceptable. She might not just know how to govern herself and move in terms of being married. Like you just don't, you shouldn't be, it's messaging something. And so that was very in your face. And so what makes you think that she's going to represent otherwise, in a way that's going to be in your face if she it's not even known out here for her to do that. It's more so known for her to be like taking the ring off and saying that she wished that.
There's mofos out here who be out in the streets doing all kind of craziness over and over and over again. She did that and whatever in the moment, and it may have been for play. She may have been trolling. It wasn't a thing, but it may have been a thing. It would be a thing for me. I would not, but I will say this. Well, I might be like, what was you doing? Like, why don't do that, right? I would not be shattered by it. It would not shatter our relationship because we already have a solid relationship. I'm like, you got caught up right there, didn't you?
On the heels of this other stuff, on the heels of all of this other banter about like the fact that.
But that's the thing is that the banter, and I don't know how Steph and Ayesha deal with and process, but. Why are you saying he tired of it?
He told me he tired of it.
He
told me he tired of it.
You know what I'm saying? We don't know how they're processing it and how they're dealing with it because the thing that I also want folks to know, and I think I already said this actually, is just because it's an issue for other people don't mean it gotta be an issue for you. It don't mean it gotta be.
I mean, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? And if they're in the spotlight, why we not leaning to the point that if she's had this many conversations about herself, about her life, about her story, what have you, that they haven't had some conversations, why we not give them the benefit of the doubt? That they haven't had some conversations and had set some expectations with one another around what's cool and what's not cool. So why everybody else get mad? He may be like, I mean, she wasn't that type of woman. She wasn't thinking about marriage and about motherhood, and it's all good.
So I misspoke earlier. I wasn't thinking about. I mean, I made a comment about her saying she didn't want to. That's not what I meant to say. What I was speaking about more so was her speaking to the piece that ain't nobody checking for her the way that they checking for Steph. Mm-hmm. That's an issue.
That she expressed it or that she feels that way?
That she expressed it publicly.
So what about the fact that she feels that way?
I don't care if she feels it, but that's a conversation that you have with your therapist. It's a conversation that you have in private with your husband.
Okay, I get that.
That's a conversation that you take to your journal. But to go on national platforms and say he got all of these screaming fans and these folks that are fanatic about him, and I ain't got nobody checking for me. Like, why can't nobody look for me?
She said at the time that she had that feeling. She talked about it in past tense. But she didn't say I'm feeling that way right now. But I was going through that, which I can understand if you're next to someone who has a big spotlight and you're trying to find your voice and figure out where you fit. And, women and men, both, we go through seasons in life where we're questioning how we look and our attractiveness and all the things. And then that's a whole nother level of layer. I don't think that it's best to share that publicly necessarily, depending on the dynamic of the people. I don't think that all men would respond that way. I don't think that all men or all women would be like, that's wrong for you to even say that, because you're reflecting on a place where you were and how you felt. This is the thing. I feel like the reason that for me personally, I think that I'm able to find a lot of grace for her. Ooh, y'all talking like a mug. We ain't know this, sorry. Is that I think, and it's probably my inclination because I'm a therapist, is that she's doing a lot of public self-reflection. And people do that, right? Like she's doing this public self-reflection. And so that's why I asked you, do you have a problem with the fact that she was feeling that way or the fact that she expressed it publicly? I do think as we think about our own marriages, our own relationships, right? I do think that we have to pay attention to the tolerance and the bandwidth of our partner. So I already know that there are things that I would share publicly that I usually would never share. I already know that there are things that I would be okay with, and he would be like, I know you lying, you better not. I already know that because of our personalities and how we be. So I do think that the way we govern ourselves should be based on what our partner's comfort is and their comfort zone is, to the degree that it's not oppressing us and keeping us suppressed. You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. There's a fine balance. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's like, and she's inherently being disrespectful. Or she's just off the cuff. She's just wrong. That might be the way you roll, but she never said I ain't want to be with him. But already that's been translated into she didn't want to be with him. She just keep embarrassing him. I'm just like, good Lord.
All right, let's. I mean, for all of the folks that are on right now, let's see where it's at. So in reference to let me know whether or not this was disrespectful. One means yes, two equals no. When half clothed men come out and she pretends like she's trying to take off her ring, is that disrespectful? One yes, two no. Type it in the chat, y'all.
One yes, two no. What is it, IG?
I mean, let's make it so people don't hide. You know what I'm saying? I mean, let it be known where you stand with these pieces. All right, I'm seeing a lot of ones.
I definitely think that was disrespectful.
Okay. All right, and so the second thing, y'all.
Siobhan said 1.5.
The second thing, her expressing that her husband is getting a whole bunch of attention, and ain't nobody checking for her.
She didn't say it like that. Say,
How did she say it? I can't remember how she said it. How she say it?
She went through a time in her life. No, she said it like that, but she did say that she, at one point in time, she was struggling with, how she felt about herself, her own self-image. She, Steph was getting a lot of attention, a lot of female attention, obviously, and she wasn't really getting any attention at all. And she struggled with that in terms of her own
attention from who?
Self-concept, male attention.
Yeah, she wasn't getting no male attention. Is that respectful? Is that disrespectful? One, yes. Is it disrespectful to her husband? One, yes, or two, no. What are y'all's thoughts for her to be talking about like not getting no male attention at one time in her life while she's married? Okay. One, yes, two, no.
I see ones, I see twos. No, one, yes, two. I see a lot of twos coming. Is y'all talking on IG?
IG, what y'all saying?
Oh, y'all are. Okay.
All right, so I see a bunch of twos here in the Blamley, but
and I see ones.
And I see ones in IG. So it's kind of split here, in reference to what people think about this situation. I mean, for me, of course you're gonna move the way you're gonna move in your house, and I'm saying men put one. Actually, let me see. Russell, are you able to talk? Type of one in the chat. You able to talk?
So I see a bunch of oppression and walking on eggshells. Lord have mercy.
I wanna he put one. Let me see here.
Let me just say this.
Hold on. I wanna
okay.
Russell, you able to talk, Brian? If you can, come off. And I think Brandon put one.
I can talk.
Go ahead.
I can talk. I got Brandon's going. Hey, how you guys doing?
Hey.
Good conversation. So why did I put one? I think when you got to know when you in the public light. She has people looking up to her, probably young girls, and people probably I don't say envious, but they appreciate her and Steph relationship. I just think it's just not a good move to do that. I understand being in your truth, but it's just not a good move because I agree with you said. It's like my on a face. I got to be careful with what I'm gonna say and what impersonation I'm gonna give or impression that I'm gonna give. Like putting the check out. Steph Curry, he watches what he says because he doesn't want it to be taken lightly. In that, to me, and I'm not in Hollywood or that atmosphere, but it's a lot of shady stuff. So you want to separate yourself from that. She could have moved a little differently. So I would say, yeah. I would feel like it wouldn't be a deal breaker for me and Ebony, but we would have a conversation about it. It's like, do you think that was the best move? To do that, because this is what I'm gonna hear, and I'm gonna tell you this. After you said that, this is what I'm gonna hear. And if you guys remember, Killer Mike went at Ayesha, and then Steph had to get on him. Remember Killer Mike? He's out there in ATL, I think, but he said, I don't know what he said exactly, but he said something, and Steph Curry had to kind of check him, and then Killer Mike, being the man he is, he said, you know what, I misspoke, my bad, I didn't mean it like that. So she doesn't realize in the career what Steph is gonna have to deal with, by her saying that. So I just think some things are social media got us thinking that we could air out all our laundry for clicks and get money for it. And it's like people get addicted to that. Some people just like drama. They feel if you ain't talking about them for 10 minutes, then they feel insecure about something. Like sit for a second. Sit down, keep your personal business personal. You a celebrity, whatnot. But I don't know. I just think that was on the fence, but closer to being on the wrong side of the fence to me.
Yeah, thank you, bro, for sharing that. Definitely appreciate that. What you want to say?
So I was just reading something that somebody put online, and they said, I'll just read this one sentence. People expect celebrity couples to be flawless, and when Ayesha shows imperfection, it threatens that fantasy, not necessarily her marriage. And I think that's what I was pointing to early on, is that the intensity of people's response, right? It threatens the image. And when people, can come across as like the perfect couple or what have you, then people are attached to that image. And to everybody's point, who said like, hey, you in the public eye, you got to move differently. I think that people then become disillusioned with the fact that, wait a minute, this is contradictory to what y'all supposed to be. And you need to kind of fall back in formation and keep the perfect image together. And I think that people need to give folks grace to be evolving and to be real and to be reflective. I understand what people are saying in terms of, hey, that's a bit much, what have you, but I don't think it's a black and white thing. I think that everybody perceives differently, moves differently, and I do think that it threatens everybody else's perception of them more than it perhaps threatens their marriage. And what does that say about us as people in terms of our ability to make room for people's evolution? It's just so judgy, I just don't be judging like that. That's just, it's difficult for me.
I
But
think
people
women
love to do it.
women are pushing back against. I think I saw oppression as a comment, but what seems to be a suffocation of a woman's truth, and that's not what I'm advocating. But what I'm lifting up and really elevating is that we both have responsibilities, and when we ignore, when we don't understand what those responsibilities are as it pertains to the way that we move privately, but also publicly, then it can be detrimental to the relationship, like detrimental to our marriage. And I don't know what their rules are, so let me be clear about that. However, I'm seeing the fallout, not in their relationship, but I'm
Right,
seeing
be
the
clear
fallout
about where you're
publicly.
seeing the fallout.
Yeah, I'm seeing the fallout publicly.
Which could-
but
which
doing
is-
the work that we do, we know that it's Steph hears it, which is why he wore the T-shirt.
Of course.
And so, what impact does that have on him?
But the fact that he wore the T-shirt to make
But
sure
that's
he was
about her cooking.
representing for his
That's
wife.
that's one piece. But when you get into the piece around love and her desire for him,
That ain't what she said.
I know, but there was this one comment that she said that kind of like bothered me. It didn't bother me, but
Yeah, it did. Just say it was
no, it
stupid.
didn't bother me, but it led me down a lane where I was like, okay, so I see where some folks are coming from when they talk about jealousy that she has towards Steph. She spoke about.
You see this? You see it? You see what it is?
Yeah, I can see what they're talking about and how it could possibly be in a mix. She made a comment in reference to, her being in acting and being in the Hollywood world since she was like 3 years old. And she said that she and Steph had conversations, and Steph wanted to be a high school basketball coach. And she thought that she was going to be the one that was out here, doing big deals and big things in reference to the acting and stuff like that. And so thinking about that type of scenario and when
Is there
that
a
done
problem
up,
with that though?
so when it doesn't go that way, and he's the one, then how does she now feel about that?
She's already said she said in some of the other parts of the
Does she
interview.
feel jealous?
But why does it have to go to that place of jealousy versus she has her own life? This whole piece around being
saying
married and not
it's-
being able to make room for individuality within marriage. I am an individual. She is an individual. You are an individual. So why does it have to eat? Why does it even? And y'all, because I've heard a lot of people say that, like she jealous, she competing. Like if she had those dreams for herself, and then she realizes it's gone in a different direction, and that's not come about the way that she envisioned, why does that automatically then have to be attached to a connection to the husband?
It doesn't,
Women
but-
do not exist as an extension of men. We do not. We don't exist as an extension of y'all. And whether you actually consciously believe that or not, I promise you that you uphold structures in marriage, in society, that give that message all the time.
But you're tied to us because we got children.
Huh?
I said you're tied to us because we got children.
And what
And
is the point
so
of that?
and so based off of you being tied to me, more specifically,
I'm tied to
Aisha
you
being
because I
tied.
love you, not because we got
I
children.
mean, I get that, but in their situation, Aisha being tied to Steph, she loves him, yes. They have children, yes. He's out here doing his thing,
Yeah.
and she's with the children. And so, again, when I speak to the jealousy piece, there's a certain level of freedom that he has and flexibility in reference to his career field that she ain't got because she's with the children. And so the jealousy could be there. And all I'm saying is that not that it has to be you all are an extension of us, but more so just own and honor the fullness of what it is that you feel. You could be married and be jealous of your spouse.
You're projecting on her, though.
I'm just saying it's not a, she didn't say that, but it's not a bad thing. So when people lift that up, that could be a possibility.
To me, it's a very arrogant thing to lift up. It's a very superior kind of driven thing to lift up. Why are you jealous of me? You know, but
He's not saying that.
I know he's not saying that. What I'm saying is, but why is that even coming up versus her having her own life, her own thoughts, her own feelings, her own conflicts internally in her own journey? Why is that even a thing?
Because she bringing up
Because
the
y'all
problem.
think that we an extension of y'all.
She bringing it up. She's bringing up the discontent. She's bringing up the
So discontent for a woman to have some level of discontent while she is married. If she has the discontent, then in some way, that means it has something to do with the husband. Is that what you're saying?
No.
Okay, well then 1 + 1 don't equal 2. Because she's bringing up that she was dissatisfied in some ways with what she didn't even use the word dissatisfied, but that she wanted more. She was, figuring herself out, all of that. It does not mean that it's commentary on the husband or on the relationship.
So that line, I thought that, and I don't even know if she said it like this verbatim, but I thought that I was going to be the one. He wanted to be a high school basketball coach. What does that mean?
I mean, exactly. From what I hear, it means exactly what she said. I thought, his focus and his goal was that he wanted to be a high school coach or whatever. My goal is that I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be out there. I wanted to be in the lights. So that's what I saw for myself. And that didn't happen.
No, I thought I was going to be the one as it relates to us. So I thought that I was going to be the one, not independent of us, but we're tied in. The one that would be out here, because she had a different understanding of what would happen for him based on what he said he wanted. It's just that. And she's like, wow, and it didn't turn out that way. It ain't that simple, y'all.
It doesn't mean that she feels she's mad at him. It means that
she's mad.
She has some feelings about her own journey, about her journey, not about yours, about her journey. Now, there's an impact in terms of his journey onto her, but that's all spouses. But that doesn't mean that it's some shadiness around her. She's not being shady. She's just being vulnerable about her feelings. Lord, I love what Yvonne said. She said,
I like what Brandon said. Why are you comparing your journey to your husband?
I don't think she is actually comparing her journey to her husband. She's just saying, this is what I thought. Other people, the public, are doing the comparing. I thought this would be mine, but it turned out to be the bigness was my husband's.
I thought I was going to be the one. And so as a man, when I hear that, and again, I'm doing a whole bunch of reading into it. Why don't y'all just stop? You're just going to be a high school basketball coach, and I'm going to be the one that's running around out here in the public eye.
Okay. Why is that a problem?
But that's not the way it is.
And what's wrong with that? Like, speak on why you don't even like.
What I'm saying is that so that's how she didn't. So she expressed. I'm trying to get to the feeling that led to her expressing that. What was underneath that? What's underneath the feeling now that's leading her to express that?
Based on everything that I have heard her say, she wants her own space. She wants her own trajectory. She wants more than just motherhood and wifehood. Okay. Is wifehood a word? I don't know. But she wants to be able to express the fullest version of herself.
I've heard women speak about being jealous of their husbands.
She wants.
I've heard wives speak about being jealous of their husbands and the freedom and flexibility that they perceive that they have to just get up and go, to move around. And so all I'm saying is that... You may have heard that women feel some type of way about the fact that men are moving. I've heard the word specifically jealousy. I'm jealous that he can do this and not think twice about it.
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead,
Come on, Sonny.
I'm sure you have heard that, but what I am hearing from Iyanna is, because I've been
on the wrong team, Sonny. You on the wrong team.
He ain't said nothing yet. Let him talk.
Dang.
Look at it. Just let him talk.
Dang.
I don't know.
No,
He
but
been-
seriously, man, you can be disappointed without being jealous. There's other words you can use, and for us to just go right to jealousy, I can see where that would be, off-putting. So there's so many other words we could use. That's all I was saying.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
Thank you, Lord. Thank you for
Coach Sonny.
somebody. Thank you, Coach Sonny, came in the room. You know what I'm saying? But what he said, did y'all hear that on IG? He said you can be disappointed without being jealous. Again, this is the whole extension of a man thing. Like, damn, I can have feelings, and somehow it's something about you. What is?
But you can be jealous too, though.
Why the fuck is you holding on to that? Jesus Christ!
Because I know that it's a real thing.
Oh my God!
I know it's a real thing. Women have expressed that. And so all I'm saying is that if that's there, it could be the disappointment by itself. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, Marvin said dreams deferred. Aisha had to make a mental shift on what he said he wanted.
Is there a woman on here who's been
And
jealous of their
and
husband?
there's a sacrifice, but
that's willing to come
what's
forward?
pissing me off about that? That now the focus of the conversation is there a woman on here who's been jealous of her husband? Aisha has shared her truth. She shared what she felt. And now it's turned into women being jealous of their husband. Goddamn patriarchy. It's always about y'all, motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? God damn. Sorry, I'm cussing all over the place. That's just irritating the fuck out of me. Jesus. The fuck? Okay, my bad. I'm back. Let me just say this, and then we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. All right. Let me just say this. You might not like it, but I'm gonna speak the truth. Women's voices are often policed, and oftentimes not only do men participate in this, but women participate in this. We don't recognize it because we're growing up in the same culture. So we also are, hearing from our granny and from our moms and our aunties or whomever. We're concerned. We got to protect him. And let me just say this, particularly for our community, for Black folks, women in so many ways, and I believe that it is our job in some ways, but I feel like we have worked overtime on that, making sure that we protect our men, making sure we protect Black men, making sure we protect them because there's been a threat in every corner. But in some ways, excuse me, we don't recognize that, he could stand up on his own. I don't have to protect him in that way. Like, two things can be true at once. I can be disappointed about a part of my journey, but still love and not regret it. I was disappointed, but I don't regret it. It's just, this is what God gave me. And so now I'm feeling, how many of us deal with that? People do, like, what things did you want to do? What parts of you have you not expressed? What things have not been able to get life? What is it? I know folks know what I'm talking about, men and women. And it's because of life. It's because of the way your life was set up. It's because of the responsibilities, because of the bigness of all the things that you had to do. And to speak that truth does not automatically mean you're being disrespectful. I know lots of folks feel different, but we don't police. We don't police everybody the way we police women, especially Black women. I said it before, healthy marriages include individuality. We can be on the same journey and I'm having a very different experience. It doesn't mean that I'm not grateful for the massages and all the things that I get and the 5-course meals and whatever I get, the chef and the nanny, but I'm still having a different experience. And last but not least. Okay, well, this last but not least from me, okay? I believe that she is expressing vulnerability. I think that's the overarching thing that I got, that she is being vulnerable, not disloyal, not disrespectful, but vulnerable. That's just the bottom line for me.
So I Am the Wise Wife says she didn't speak on where her heart is now. She left it at, I didn't want to be married.
She did speak on where now, to your point though,
she ain't heavy on that.
She didn't elaborate on it.
That's
so I will say
need.
that, but she did speak on and talk about herself now.
So my piece, y'all,
and that's strategy. I mean, you gotta, so I would say
my thing is this, and I know that a lot of the women, and maybe some of the men too, are, opposed to some of the things that I lifted up, but I think that there's two pieces here. A woman has a right to be herself and to speak her mind. Mm-hmm. I'm in agreement with that 1,000%. And I'm also a strong advocate of the fact that like a woman has a responsibility in terms of how she governs herself in her marriage. And so, and I don't think that women on here would disagree. I think that the two can coexist. And so it may sound or feel like, I'm leaning on one side versus the other. My wife's purpose, I think, was focused on,
You said my what? My purpose.
yeah, just highlighting the agency that she has in reference to her points of view or perspective. My piece was more so focused on the responsibility. And so are y'all in agreement that a wife has a responsibility to be mindful about what she says publicly
Of course, yeah.
in her marriage? Yes or no? Are y'all in agreement with that? All right. So we on the same page. We on the same page for those that agree. And I know it's nuanced. Yeah, I know it's nuanced. And are y'all in agreement that a husband has a responsibility to be mindful about how he expresses himself publicly if he's married? Yes or no?
You know they're gonna say
Yeah. And y'all would also agree that she can't just say whatever. And some of y'all have already acknowledged that some of the stuff that she's done and said has been out of pocket. And so it's like,
what is it?
So
what are you
we
saying? Been out of pocket? The ring? Her taking a ring?
the ring piece, and then some folks, some of the ladies,
No,
more
you.
so
I'm
men.
talking about you.
Me, yeah, the ring piece, and then her talking about what was it that she said? That man, I forgot the piece already. The ring piece. Yvonne, why don't you come forward, sis? I want to hear what you guys say. But the ring piece.
You don't really want to hear.
I want to hear.
We
I want to hear.
it. What you want to hear? I said it all.
Like, say it again. The people on IG ain't hear you.
Well, what are you asking her, boo?
I want to know, like, why you said no, didn't recognize it at all. In terms of her being disrespectful around. You don't feel like she was being disrespectful around the ring?
Not at all.
Say more about that.
I mean, okay, you already know my relationship, but this don't have nothing to do with it. Like if Anthony Hamilton come on the stage or Method Man walk across the screen, I'm freaking out. If Fantasia come out, Pete freaking out. Like that's my girl. Like we going da 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 da. That don't mean we disrespecting each other. We're having fun.
All right. You opening up a door, Yvonne. Y'all seen that woman with Usher, right?
No.
Oh, you can't even.
I don't watch none of this kind of stuff, but I'm just participating with y'all.
Right.
You're not opening up a door. You just
it's opening up.
We're both doing
I
it.
can't act like nothing.
If Pete ever said he didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. But we're doing it together. We're fanning over celebrities and different stuff, and dang, he's fine. We doing all of that kind of stuff. Not because we want him. It's just playful because we're human.
Yeah, but I mean, in some situations, like we think that y'all should just know, just like we should just know.
You just didn't know what.
I mean, some things to me are being playful is one thing. but there's some things that you know not to do, and he don't need to say don't do it.
I don't think everybody's the same because, like Yvonne said, right? Some people go to the concert together, see Usher, and be like, "That's my wife's boy." Like she's gonna go up there and whatever.
We're going together. We're experiencing it together.
They're gonna be fine with it. If I go to the Usher concert, I'm gonna be feeling the heat on my back. I feel like Ayesha gonna be lasers, like looking at me like, "Don't smile too much. Don't stand up too much."
We went to an Usher concert and you went to sleep.
I did not go to sleep.
Yes, you did. You went to sleep, Joe. Like,
it was long. It was long. I was into it. But my point is that he ain't got no tolerance for that. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't. If we watching a movie and I'm like, oh, I'd have to be quiet. This ass is
No,
like,
you don't. Yeah.
Oh yes, I do.
No,
you look real uncomfortable.
No.
Oh come on. But the point is that everybody is different. Everybody's different. So Yvonne said if it was a problem for him, she would not do that. But it's not an automatic. It's so that therefore Ayesha Curry is not in many of these situations not being inherently disrespectful. Just saying. Depends on the couple. Don't live your life for what other people are doing. If you ain't getting nothing else from the night, don't live your life for how we doing it, how your mom and them do it, how your auntie and them do it, because every couple has their own guidelines for what's acceptable, and you all need to be in conversation. You need to be in communication about it. Cause everybody don't move the same. And the way that y'all coming out here, like everybody stuff, that's wrong. Steph and Aisha might be sitting back on the couch chilling like, these people be crazy. And they ain't tripping out now one bit because they're clear about their relationship.
Or Steph may be sitting in the cut in quiet observation about how his wife is moving, which is a very real thing. Men watch. Mm-hmm. And I'm just saying, man.
Russell said Aisha the book.
Yeah, I know, right? I need to.
How to love a black man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And like, men watch and observe. And so, in this situation right here, my hope and my prayer is that all is well. But we don't even know that. We know he wore a t-shirt that said Ayesha can cook. Mm-hmm. But outside of that, in terms of the relationship dynamics, word is getting back to him. And I pray that it's not having a negative impact on him. But if it is, I pray that he's also speaking to her about it. I do. I mean, there's something there. And I want them to be in a good space for the sake of black love, for the sake of their family.
Just consider that there's something there, may be something that he's fully aware of, that there's a dynamic that's been expressed, discussed, just like you and I talk about things from our relationship. It's old news. We ain't tripping. It's old news.
Man, this interview happened like last week.
But she's reflecting. I can reflect on stuff that just because it happened last week, she didn't say it's happening right now. She's reflecting on her journey. So what I'm saying is things can
reflect on some good stuff.
What I'm saying is that so we be talking about our stuff and we don't talk about all good stuff. You know what I'm saying? Again.
Yeah, but
it doesn't mean that it's an issue more today. It doesn't.
I need more from her.
All right, everybody. I think that this has been straight up a very interesting discussion. And I hope that at the end of the day, you think about what are the guidelines in your relationship or the one who's coming to you? You know what I'm saying? What are the guidelines? What are the points of agreement? Because there's one thing for sure, when it comes down to this, if two people came in front of us as marriage therapists and coaches and they were in two different places, we say, y'all got to come to agreement. Mm-hmm. You got to get to understanding. You got to come to agreement. It's not an automatic you're wrong or automatic you're right. And I think that that's the greatest message that I can give today, even though many of you all think you tripping, she just wrong. No, it's not automatic. It depends on the dynamics at play and what the two people value and how they are talking through it and giving each other the freedom to be able to walk their journey individually within the marriage. Contrary to popular belief, wives don't exist to please husbands. We are.
But wives should listen to their husbands.
Dun, 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 dun. Equal partners. We are equal partners.
We got 4 men on here. I want to know. I already heard from. No, I'm just saying. I heard from Brandon. Brandon, what you got to say, bro? I heard from Russell. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts?
I'm just trying to figure out what's happening. I don't even know what's happening. I'm just piecing it together from what y'all saying. I have not listened to anything. But from the perspectives that y'all are lifting up, it's a no for me, dog. I mean, it's just totally disrespectful the way that she moving, the silly jokes with taking the ring off. I mean, I think it's okay for her to feel how she feels, but it's conveying a deeper message. What is the message? Why are you saying what you're saying? Because ultimately, she wants attention. But she wants attention from her man. I feel like if it's adequately there and they connecting and bonding, she probably may or may not have even really made that comment. She's missing the attention. I feel like to me, that's listening to what y'all saying. That's the real cry is, yeah, you want, the validation from other men, but you really want the validation from your man. It's how I feel. And so if it's really not there, then yes, I am going to start feeling a certain way. And then yes, I'm going to think other men may be able to just compensate a little bit for the attention that I'm missing. But if my wife is giving me all the attention that I want and we good, I'm never gonna that's not gonna cross my mind. Why am I interested in somebody else if I'm good at home? And we
Right.
all know it's a leading fact that it's an extreme struggle as a professional athlete, rapper, whatever. They drop the ball a lot emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Mm,
throw the bag around to compensate for it. Sometimes you ain't even got to be land like that. You will kind of try to use your money to make up for what it is you lacking. So I
mm,
mean, I would be presumptuous by saying that, but I do think there had to been some lack going around at that time where maybe he was trying to figure out how to balance the fame and still be grounded at the house. But I think it was a cry to her man publicly, and I feel like he got the message.
Mm.
mm. That's a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if
Yeah,
folks on
appreciate
IG
that,
like,
bro.
mm-hmm, that's a good point.
Yeah, yeah, that's good, bro.
Yeah, yeah, that's good.
So
That's
my
good.
piece is that y'all have heard from four men tonight. And so I came on here and I just wanted to lift up the perspective that there's a real impact,
Mm-hmm.
in the relationship, and there's chatter going on in the social media space that needs to be examined or ignored. But nevertheless, the relationship is the most important piece. If you're a woman that's watching this and you dismiss or disregard, I would even say all four perspectives from the men that you heard tonight, then to me that's problematic. I think that, and if we as men disregard what y'all are saying, that's problematic as well too. And so, again, it's really important that we make room to have the conversation. And I think that everything that has been lifted up
Mm-hmm.
can all be in the same pot. Like it's all there, but we got to be able to make room and have these nuanced conversations,
Right.
about it. And so, again, God bless the Currys. I wish them well, but even more importantly, I wish y'all well in your relationship.
Absolutely. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming and joining us on tonight's Relationship Thursday. We hope you got something good from it. We will see you